report is out and the list is damning. I'll be telling you who is not submitting your SACCO deductions and what the SACCO's regulatory authority is planning to do about these. I'm talking about the SACCO Supervision Annual Report for the year 2024. It is painting the image of how the industry looks like, the areas that requires to be relooked into, and of course, the areas that the sector is doing pretty well. Plus, we have more coming up in the world of business, sports, as well as general news. And I'll be engaging with the Cabinet Secretary in charge of cooperatives as well as MSMEs, FCP, Wycliffe Oparanya. Our conversation will revolve around this report. Well, that is coming up here. But before we get there, let's have a look at the highlights. Ruto meet Guterres. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres hails Kenya's contribution to regional and global peace. Dawn inferno in Sinai. In early morning fire in Nairobi's Sinai slum that rendered more than 200 families homeless. Kericho triple murder. 19-year-old man hacked to 19-year-old man hacked to death 3 family members in Samutet village, Kericho County. And ready to go, electoral body IEBC says it has secured all the funds it needed to conduct scheduled November by-elections. Good evening and thank you very much for joining us. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Welcome to the Premier Edition. Byron Aburi is our sign language interpreter. Welcome to the bulletin. Well, the National Police Service has confirmed the death of a Kenyan police officer who went missing in Haiti while serving under the Kenyan-led multinational security support mission. The deceased was among more than 800 police officers Kenya deployed to Haiti in 2024 to lead an international mission aimed at restoring stability in the gang-ravaged Caribbean nation.
In a statement issued on Thursday, the National Police Service said Benedict Kabiru went missing on Tuesday, March 25, 2025, during an ambush along the Carrefour-Pay-Savien main supply route in the Port Sonde area of the Anti-Abonite Department. Since then, the multinational security support mission, in collaboration with the Haitian National Police, has been conducting a meticulous search and rescue operation to locate the missing officer. Read in part, in a tragic turn of events, the National Police Service received information regarding the death of the missing police officer and the family has been notified. The police service added that the officer's family was kept updated throughout the joint search operation. Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and National Administration, while on a jukwaa la usalama tour in Garissa County, clarified was not killed in a shootout with but met his untimely death while protecting colleagues.
When that news was confirmed, the National Police Service dispatched a team to visit the family, but the synchronization of time made it such that by the time the president was making the statement, I think our officers had not reached the family. But eventually the family was visited, informed of this very unfortunate circumstance, and we continue condoling with the family of Mr. Kibero.
Meanwhile, the statement from the National Police Service said the body of Corporal Kennedy Mutoku Nzuve, who died in a tragic road accident on Monday, September 1st, 2025 in Haiti, is scheduled to arrive in Nairobi on Friday, September 26th, 2025. Michael Mondiga for Prime.
From Haiti to New York, where President William Ruto has held talks with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, where he reaffirmed Kenya's unwavering support for the renewal of multilateralism and global solidarity. The head of state met with Guterres on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. He said that multilateralism and global solidarity remain the surest guarantees in confronting today's challenges and unlocking tomorrow's opportunities. Guterres, on his part, expressed gratitude to Kenya's role in advancing peace in the region, particularly in Haiti. From New York to Nairobi, where 2 people have been confirmed dead and others sustained minor injuries after a dawn fire reduced several houses to ashes in the Sinai area of Lunga Lunga in Nairobi's industrial area. The fire that started around 3 a.m. has left the families with more questions than answers as they appeal to well-wishers to come to their aid. Investigations into the cause of the fire have kicked off.
This is the aftermath of a dawn fire that has left over 200 families homeless in Sinai. Distraught families try to salvage whatever little is left of what they once called home. Those displaced say they have nowhere else to go.
Tumekuwa na shida mingi sana, watoto wajaenda shule. Tumekuwa na shida kubwa sana, sisi wote hata hatujui mbele wala nyuma, sisi tufanye nini.
Authorities say 2 people died in the 3 a.m. incident. Survivors are pleading with the area leaders as well as well-wishers to come to their aid.
Tunaomba ule mtu anaweza kuwa na msaada, hata ni mtu mwingine katika hii nchi yetu, atuonee huruma.
Some residents say the deadly inferno may have been caused by an electric fault, though investigations are underway to find the actual cause. In 2011, 75 and more than 100 others were injured in a fuel explosion in the area. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission says it is prepared to conduct all the upcoming by-elections after securing funds for the exercise. Appearing before the National Assembly's Constitution Implementation Oversight Committee, the commission, led by its chair, Edong Ethokon, says the campaign period for the by-elections will run from the 8th of October to 48 hours before the election day.
Public confidence.
The National Assembly Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee invited the IBC to discuss the roadmap towards the next elections. The Commission revealed that the confusion over the fate of the upcoming by-elections has been addressed following an assurance by the Treasury on the availability of the funds needed to cover the by-elections.
We made spirited efforts and appeals and meetings with the Treasury, and as of Friday, it was Friday, yes, we unlocked that. So they gave us assurance that they'll give us exchequer and that the financing for the by-elections it's there.
The Commission has declared the campaign period to run from the 8th of October to 48 hours before the election day, which is the 27th of November this year. Meanwhile, the Commission is calling on Kenyans to turn up in large numbers during the voter registration exercise set to be launched on the 29th of this month. The Commission targets to register 6.3 million new voters. The exercise will take place at the constituency offices, institutions of higher learning, and Huduma centers across the country.
We said, even during our interviews, that we look after the interest of all Kenyans, including the special interest groups, the marginalized, the youth, the people with disability, and stuff like that. So we approach this thing from a human rights-based perspective.
On boundaries delimitation, the Commission says it may not be possible owing to time constraints. However, the electoral body says it's conducting internal consultations on the same and will give the true position in a month.
Are you going to do it before 2027? is it possible for it to happen before 2027? If not, when are you anticipating to do the boundary review, which is a key component as far as we are concerned?
We have put in place processes to be able to gather all the information, including the advisory opinion, but also other materials that will guide us in making decisions.
Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, shock engulfed Samutet village in Ainamoy sub-county, Kericho County, after a 19-year-old man hacked to death 3 family members. Evans Kiprop, who was later beaten to death by angry residents, is said to have carried out the heinous act at 10 a.m. on Thursday.
Tens of residents of Samutet village converged in disbelief after 19-year-old man Evans Kiprop hacked to death 2 adult family members and a 3-year-old girl who succumbed while being rushed to the hospital. According to Kericho County Police Commander James Ngetich, the suspect started by hacking his 70-year-old aunt at her house before turning to his sister-in-law who was trying to rescue the woman.
Hapa leo mwendo wa saa 4 kumekuwa na kisa ambaye mtu mmoja ambaye ni wa jamii moja ameweza kuumiza na kuwajeruhi na kuwaua watu 3. Wa kwanza ameanza na shangazi wake ambaye ni ako na miaka 70. Baada ya hapo akaenda kwa dada wake shemeji wake ambaye ako na miaka 28 na mtoto wake mdogo wa miaka 3.
Agitated members of the public later cornered the man and lynched him at the homestead.
Baada ya hiyo kisanga, wananchi ambao walishikwa na hamaki wakamvamia na pia huyo mshukiwa amepoteza maisha yake. Ile kitu ningesi wananchi ni kwamba kama familia iko na changamoto, jamani, familia ikae chini iweze kutafuta suluhisho.
Community leaders led by Nixon Kiplagat said the suspect had a criminal record after being arrested earlier for different offenses.
Alikuwa amefungwa siku moja na akaachiliwa. Huyu kijana ndugu yake tena mwingine. Kuna siku nikakuja nikachukua yeye hospitali kwa sababu ya madawa za kulevya. Na hata ako hapa na hawa wananchi wanasema ya kwamba hata huyu atolewe kwanza aende akiendanga, si ndivyo? Asikae sababu we feel insecure.
The residents also decried increased cases of drug abuse in the area, which has also led to insecurity. Kasi Namasha, Prime Edition.
A very unfortunate incident there in Kericho County. Let's move now to Garissa County, where the government is calling for calm as it pursues those who desecrated the Kenyan flag at a football match in Nairobi last week. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen says one suspect has been arrested as authorities seek others. He spoke during the Jukwala Usalama Security Forum in Garissa County. Give us on Minor now has the details.
Garissa County on Thursday hosted Usalama grassroots security engagement. Accompanied by Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, DIG Gilbert Masangeli, and DCI boss Amin Mohammed, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen emphasized the disrespect of the Kenyan flag should not be linked to the government of Somalia or its people.
Taki watu pia wa generalize kusema kwamba mtu mmoja akifanya makosa nchi mzima imefanya makosa. Kuna Wakenya pia katika nchi zingine wanakosea na wanachukuliwa hatua ya kisheria kibinafsi, sio kama Kenya. Na kuna Wakenya wanakikosea huko nchi za nje wanapitia njia za kisheria kama vile si wa Somalia peke yao wamekosea hapa Kenya.
The CS has further urged Kenyans to remain calm and desist from any form of indiscipline during the return leg this Sunday as the suspects are being sought. One suspect has already been nabbed and is waiting to face justice.
Just leave it to the IG and the authorities to deal with it, and we focus on the match. There's nothing to revenge against. There's no one to revenge against. The person who would have revenge against are being taken through the legal process by the IG.
He revealed the withdrawal of donor funding in the Dadaab refugee camp was causing insecurity in Garissa as communities strive for resources.
The people of Kenya are getting commensurate development commensurate to the sacrifice they have made in hosting refugees, but also that the refugees are going to be allowed to access facilities that are shared with the local community so that none of them will think that they are less developed than the other.
Abuse of pharmaceutical drugs was also highlighted as a concern in Garissa. The public uproar surrounding the mocking of the Kenyan flag during a football match in Nairobi, Interior Cabinet Secretary says should not be interpreted as a diplomatic issue between Kenya and Somalia, as the two suspects bears personal responsibility. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition in Garissa County.
I tell you what, you can have all the differences in the world that you may want, but desecrating and abusing our flag is an no-go zone. It's a red line. Well, you're watching the Prime Edition. We are taking our first break, and thereafter, remember I told you we're having the big interview with the Cabinet Secretary in charge of cooperatives and MSMEs. I'm talking about FCPA, Wycliffe Oparanya. Stay right here.
Mpango wa Mungu juu ya maisha yako lazima ukuje kufikiana. Mpango wa Mungu juu ya jamii yako, mpango wa Mungu juu ya kazi ya mikono yako lazima ikakuje kutimia, hata kama unapitia vita za aina gani, hata kama ni vita za kiroho, vita za kimaisha, lazima mpango wa Mungu juu ya maisha yako ukuje kufikiana.
Welcome back. Well, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki has lashed out at politicians engaging in premature campaigns, stating that time for the service delivery and development, not for politics. Speaking during an engagement with grassroots leaders and opinion shapers from Isiolo County, the Deputy President says that critics of the Kenya Kwanza regime achieved nothing when they were given a chance to serve.
President Professor Kithure Kindiki hosted at least 1,000 from Isiolo County at his Irunduni home in Tharaka Nithi. President gave assurance that the government is prioritizing the completion of the 750-kilometer road stretching from Mandera to Isiolo County before the next general election.
Mara ya kwanza watu wa kaskazini mwa Kenya wataunganishwa na mji wa Nairobi kupitia Isiolo, kupitia barabara ambaye ni barabara ndefu zaidi kuwahi kutengenezwa na serikali moja.
Professor Kindiki also emphasized that over 1,000 kilometers of roads are currently under construction in northern Kenya for the first time since independence under the leadership of President William Ruto.
For the first time, President William Ruto is building roads, over 1,000 kilometers of road in northern Kenya, an area which had been forgotten. Ni 2 terms, 2 terms.
Professor Kindiki also used the opportunity to discredit government critics, predecessor Rigathi Gachagua, questioning what he achieved during his tenure as deputy president.
Na wale wenye hiyo maneno sio ati ni wageni Kenya, sio malaika, tunawajua. Na wamekuwa kwa viti kubwa, wengine mawaziri, wengine sijui nini, na siku ile walikuwa na kirauni kwa kichwa. Hakuna hata project moja ya Isiolo wametetea ikafika pale Isiolo.
The professor asked Kenyans to ignore politicians who want to put the country in a campaign mood. Gishuke Washira, Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, members of parliament from Turkana County have decried increased cases of insecurity, particularly in a raw sub-county caused by bandits from the neighboring county. The MPs led by Turkana South legislator John Ariko says at least 7 cases of banditry attacks have been reported in September alone.
Just yesterday, that was on September 24th, tragedy struck again Kainuk, where an NPR officer, Elipan Pachu, and a young adult, Isaac Ilikwel, were killed by Pokot's bandits. Their deaths are a painful reminder of the cause of inaction. Shockingly, in response to these raids, the multi-agency team has turned on our people. Operations led by KDF have brutalized innocent victims, inflicting bruises and internal injuries, and wrongfully arrested a Kahong NPR seeking ammunition replenishment after the September 3rd raid. This is a betrayal of trust.
So we appeal to the government. We appeal to the government to be fair, to be impartial when they are delivering services to the communities. Because the moment we see the multi-agency working with our opponents, then it shows that there's something which is fishy and which is against our community.
Tunaongea hakuna kitu inafanyika. Tunasema mifugo imechukuliwa hakuna mtu anarudisha. Tunasema watu wameuliwa na juzi Nyanza mtu mmoja alikufia hapa kwa nini kwa cell moja mtu mmoja. Na Kenya yote ikalia. Kwani hao wenye waliuliwa jana Kainuku si wa Kenya?
Yes, well, the inquest hearing into the death of Rex Kanyike Masai took a new twist on Thursday after the National Police Service, through an application filed in the morning, claimed that a police armourer was compelled to release sensitive firearm register without authorization, and that the court failed to properly record the objections. The revelation prompted both the state and the Independent Police Oversight Authority to seek more time to respond, with the court session on Thursday, October 2025, as the date for the ruling. Letua Deborah with the details.
The National Police Service has filed an application challenging a court order that compelled the police armourer to release arms movement register. In his affidavit, Corporal Frederico Capesi argued that the records are confidential and faulted the court for failing to capture his objection. The state and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority sought time to respond, prompting the court to direct all parties to file written submissions ahead of his ruling on the matter on Thursday, October 30th, 2025. The inquest, which is probing the circumstances surrounding the death of Rex Kanyike Masai, still await testimonies from 3 key witnesses, including the pathologist and the investigating officer. And a witness in the 356 million shillings theft case against former Oki Trading Director Hani Katwani told the court that Katwani forced him to work without proper documents, withheld contracts, paid staff in cash, and diverted company funds to his account and his wife's account.
He was receiving the Oki money in that unofficial line, and he was asking me to send that money in his wife's M-Pesa account, and many times he asked me to deposit in his personal account.
He referred to an audit report as evidence, but admitted lacking payslips or statements to support the claims. The case will be mentioned on Monday, 29th September 2025. Letua Deborah for Prime Edition.
Let's now move to the counties, and a family in Kakamega County is seeking justice and the national government intervention after their son went missing in Gilgil during the National Youth Service pass-out ceremony held on Thursday, August 28, 2025. Details of these and other stories in our county news roundup.
4 weeks after the NYS pass-out ceremony in Gilgil, the family of Joseph Kangara say their efforts to trace him have yielded nothing. They say they have filed a missing person report at various police stations in Gilgil, Nairobi and Kakamega.
Niliporudi Gilgil wakaniambia wajapata mtoto niwapatie picha, nikawapatia picha yangu ya mtoto nikaenda nikawapatia, nikawacha hapo, akaniambia watatuma signal Kenya mzima penye mtoto wako watampata, alafu watanipigia simu. Nimeenda Gilgil mpaka hospitali, nimezunguka wards zote, sijaweza kupata mtoto.
Elsewhere, fire broke out at Tharaka University, destroying the university's main office. No injuries were reported.
Nataka kuambia wazazi, wanafunzi na washikandau wengine, tuliweza kudhibiti hiyo moto na hakuna mwanafunzi, staff ama wafanyikazi hata mmoja aliweza kuumia.
And teachers in Nakuru County have joined their colleagues across the country in demanding autonomy for junior secondary schools and permanent employment terms for all JSS intern teachers.
What we are requesting and pushing the Ministry of Education and the Mandarin of Teacher Service Commission is to believe and to know that the unions want JS autonomous in terms of administration. The JS teachers currently are degree holders who are supposed to progress to the highest possible career progress in terms of career progression guideline to the job group D5.
Meanwhile, 3 of Kenya's most ecologically and culturally significant wetland species, the grey-crowned crane, Sitatunga antelope, and the Brazos monkey, are facing mounting threats due to habitat degradation, prompting urgent conservation efforts to protect the wetlands they depend on.
You don't just see rivers, it's just rivers or just waters flowing, but it's a lifeline that holds our own life being. We also depend on the rivers. It's a life that depends on the culture. It also carries different ecosystem within here that we depend on that rivers. And also I'll advise them that the rivers, that we need to protect the rivers, don't pollute the river.
And Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Nyanza Regional Director Abraham Kemboi has said that both the Executive, County Public Service Board and the County Assembly leadership will appear before the Commission to shed light on their role in the scandal that saw 382 healthcare personnel laid off despite having worked for 8 months.
And we came to Siaya to get to know what is the problem of the so-called irregular employment of healthcare employees. We have met with their representatives and we have agreed on the way forward.
In Homa Bay County, at least 700 students from vulnerable families have completed German language training at Tom Mboya University. The program, aimed at preparing them for job opportunities abroad, follows the bilateral labor agreement signed between Kenya and Germany last year.
We signed a bilateral labor agreement, and there's a huge demand for Kenyans to. But part of the requirement is the understanding of the German language as well as the German culture.
This comes as community-based organizations in Migori County have urged the county government to make the budget process documents and other relevant materials available online for easy access by members of the public.
The first gap that has come out is lack of the adequate information. You find that sometimes the documents that are supposed to be discussed are not on the website, and when the people are looking for them, they're not available.
Finally, the government of the Eastern region to be patient as it is working tirelessly to ensure the completion of the Thwake Dam.
Ile kazi haingeanza kufanyika kama the top surface of the dam haijafanya settlement. We are always advised na wale tunaita world dam experts, usifanye surface concreting mpaka tumefika mahali ambapo the settlement ya ukuta, kwa sababu yani mawe yamepangwa, is less than 5 millimeters per month.
Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Kila mwisho wa juma hapa katika runinga yako ya tunakuletea mkulima.
Kila mtu, mkulima mdogo, mkubwa, uzaji na pia za kilimo,
kuanzia kwa mbinu za kilimo, ufugaji,
kukupa fursa za biashara, teknolojia zinazo rahisi
Kulima kisasa inakuwa motisha na suluhu za kukuza mazao
na pia kulisha taifa
nchi, na tunafidi Europa.
Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30
kwenye runinga ya taifa.
Mkulima, tuko hapa kwa ajili yako,
ambapo fursa na kilimo zinapatana.
Using persons with disabilities to get funds for personal use is inappropriate.
To ensure that we are included, not just at the table, not just being given a seat at the table, but also being given the power to lead.
Where people are meeting to make decisions, women with disabilities voices must be there, must be heard, especially around violence and political participation.
Mi kukua caregiver na niko na mtoto mlemavu ni kujituma tu.
Tuko mbioni, tunajaribu sana kuhakikisha na kuonyesha wenzetu ya kwamba ulemavu si hukumu.
Apologies for the audio breakout. Well, time now for business news, where Kenya is wooing African leaders to scale up funding for affordable housing projects. President William Ruto has told an investment forum that lending for affordable houses remains low in Africa despite the immense demand for housing on the continent. More than 55 million Africans live in slums due to housing shortage, with the continent grappling with a huge housing deficit of 50 million units every year.
Africa is facing a major housing crisis due to rapid urbanization and population growth. According to the International Finance Corporation, the continent faces close to $1.5 trillion in funding gap. President William Ruto is rooting for public-private partnerships to address the housing catastrophe facing the continent.
Including in Kenya, 7 million people are living in slums. Yet we were the same 60 years ago. Difference? Leadership. Yes. So, what am I saying? It was what inspired us to do what we are doing in Kenya today.
President Ruto says Kenya's affordable housing project is emerging as a financial blueprint for Africa after with more than 400 billion shillings raised to fund affordable housing projects targeting 170,000 units. Speaking at the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Ruto says the program has proven that major projects on the continent can be financed without relying on foreign debt.
We must also begin by building our own institution, by believing in ourselves and putting our resources in those institutions.
Ghanaian President John Mahama has highlighted Kenya's affordable housing projects, saying he is seeking guidance on how the model can be used to address housing shortage in Ghana.
The only way we can emancipate ourselves economically is to have a financial infrastructure that understands the continent. We have the multilateral lending agencies and all of them. understand our private sector, including our culture, and know how to create instruments that will help especially small and medium enterprises.
The two leaders have urged African government to increase equity stakes in African multilateral lenders and graft rules that favors African priorities.
Elsewhere, the SACCO Society's Regulatory Authority is finalizing modalities that will ease mergers and consolidation of deposit-taking savings and credit cooperatives, organizations with an asset base of below 1 billion shillings. Cooperative Small and Medium Enterprises Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya says the mergers will capitalize small SACCOs, making them competitive and ease oversight by the regulator.
Savings and credit cooperatives organization assets crossed the 1 trillion shillings mark for the first time, hitting 1.8 trillion shillings. The 9.17% increase is due to an expanded loan book that grew to 845.11 billion shillings in 2024 from 758.57 billion shillings in 2023. To protect member deposits, SASRA is seeking additional regulations that include deactivating inactive SACCOs and crafting policies that will ease mergers and consolidation of small SACCOs.
As time has come for the SACCO sector to explore market-driven solutions of consultation and mergers of these very many small only SACCOs.
Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya says SACCOs with assets below 100 million shillings and housing SACCOs will also be regulated by SASRA.
My ministry is therefore looking into modalities of bringing this segment of SACCOs under SASRA.
SACCOs will be required to seek permission from the regulator before borrowing commercial loans from banks to curb SACCO managements from announcing high dividends that have seen the societies grapple with reduced working.
Any SACCO intending to procure an external loan must obtain written approval from the Commissioner of Cooperatives.
Gentleman has gone to a bank to withdraw money, not 1 shilling, not 2 shillings, 5-point-something billion from a SACCO account, and nobody asked a question.
In a raft of additional measures, Matatu SACCOs will be categorized into two as the government streamlines SACCO.
Going to transform all existing Matatu or PSB SACCOs which are not engaged in savings and credit business into transport cooperatives or transcorps.
Benson Drioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Well, I told you that I'll be having cooperatives and MSMEs. Cabinet Secretary FCPA Wycliffe Oparanya in studio to discuss this report, which was launched today. It's 269 actually page report, and is the SACCO Supervision Annual Report for the year 2024. Basically, this report tells us the state of this industry in this country. Thank you very much indeed, Bonavazek, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for the welcome.
Yes. So what is this report telling us about the state of SACCOs in Kenya?
First of all, thank you very much. Me in the studio. It's a particular report that was launched today at 9 a.m. Now, that report, the supervision report, is a legal requirement within the societies, the SACCO Societies Act 2008, that SASRA, being a regulator or a supervisor of all SACCOs, of SACCOs over 100 million capital base, makes a report on the performance of SACCOs on a yearly basis. Mm-hmm. So that is a report for the year 1st January 2024 to 31st December 2024.
Mm-hmm. When you go through this report, because I believe it was presented to you, What are the key highlights that you'd pick out of this report?
Now, the key highlights that I would say, one, is that there has been a general growth in the capital base of the SACCOs from the last 10 years when SASRA was established as a regulator, from 300 billion to 1.1 trillion. You can imagine that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process also, membership has increased. And this is just membership of those that are regulated, those that have capital base over 100 million Kenya shillings. And there are 355 only. And in this country, we have about 5,000 SACCOs, according to the records. Whether some are active or not, it is yet to be established. So you can imagine that the capital base of these SACCOs has improved from 301 billion to 1.1, and membership has grown from 3 million over the last 10 years to 7.4 million now. And that now you can see the lending pattern, that lending, most of the lending is in land and housing. The second major lending is in education. The third major lending is in agriculture. And the fourth is trade. And if you see that, those are the pillars that the government is now targeting to make sure that Kenyans are involved in active economic activity in those particular areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When you look at this report, I mean, it also gives an update on the unremitted funds.
Mm.
And it's talking about 55,000 Kenyans have been affected by universities, counties, and county assemblies for failing to remit their deductions. And this is totaling to about 3.5 billion Kenya shillings
3.4, yeah.
as we stand. What is the government planning to do about this?
That has been the major challenge of SACCOs, that employers deduct the dues from them. The employers are supposed to transmit that reduction to SACCOs, but unfortunately that does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the major culprits has been county governments, county assemblies, universities and tertiary colleges,
yeah,
where the majority of the outstanding deduction are. And you'll find that at the moment, these figures accumulated to about 3.4 billion, affecting 55,000 members. The Commissioner of Cooperative has the powers to go to court for recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But because this is rampant, it will mean that his business will be going to court every other day. I've just mentioned the ones which are major ones because quite a number are involved. But
Mm-hmm.
what we have done, we have now given more powers to the commissioner to recover the money direct or to get court judgment direct without going through a court process. And this has now been provided for in the Cooperative Bill 2024 that is before the National Assembly and the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
It has reached a mediation stage, and we are hopeful that when it becomes an act of parliament,
mm-hmm.
this issue will be a challenge of the past.
Help me understand this. I mean, why is it that it's public institutions that are worst affected by non-remittance of contributions?
I think this is governance issues and also the funding gaps that this institution experience. you will realize that our universities have been having financial gaps for some time until a new funding model has now come. And I'm hopeful that using the new funding model, the remittances will improve. And also county governments, you sometimes hear that they stay a few months, 3 months, 4 months, without getting disbursements from the Treasury. And of course, that also affects county assemblies. So that might be the problem. And of course, sometimes the accounting officers just divert these funds because maybe there's nobody pushing them. You see if payee, you deduct the carry and you don't pay on time, the penalties are high, your accounts can be frozen. Yeah, so those are the powers that we need to pass to the Commission of Cooperatives so that he has powers, actually proper, raw powers to collect these funds.
When you engage with these institutions, would you want to confirm that they indeed deduct this money from members?
They do because they prepare,
and then they fail to remit.
They prepare payrolls every month. So when they prepare payroll and there are those deductions, there are those obligations that are there, they are put in the IFMIS, they remain there. So they deduct. And that's why we are able to ascertain the figure of 3.4 billion Kenya shillings.
What is this doing to contributors?
Of course, that affects the liquidity of this institution. And you know, the core mandate of SACCOs is to give affordable credit to members. So you will find because of these liquidity problems, members have to wait for too long. If they were to get, they apply for loans and in a week they were to get the loans, some wait even for a year, even more than a year, they queue. And sometimes this now creates corruption within the institution, so that members now come, because they have been queuing for long, they have to bribe officials for them to access the credit. So this has affected the liquidity, and that's why you have those numbers that we have mentioned. Yeah.
When you go through this report, I mean, it tells you that in 2023, the number of people who are affected by non-remittance of deductions was about 57,000. This year, you're talking about 55,000. But when you look at the amount that was not deducted, that was not remitted in 2023, it was about 2.5? 2.5 billion shillings.
Yeah.
This number has grown by almost $1 billion shillings to 3.4. As a ministry, what more can you do?
I have clearly said that there is the Corporate Bill 2024. It addresses this issue exhaustively. Secondly, most of the SACCOs now have opened borders. Before, like KBC here, your SACCO will be restricted to your membership here, employees of KBC. But now you find that most SACCOs have opened up. Steamer SACCO, even if you are not an employee of KPLC, you can be a member of the SACCO, Steamer SACCO. Police SACCO, if you are not a member. So we are saying that even SACCOs must have innovative way of recovering this money through either their financial services, because some provide front office financial services. Why not use that? By deducting directly from members' accounts. Also, now they are going digital. Why can't you liaise with Safaricom, have an arrangement where now the members can be deducted through digital process? So we are also encouraging the SACCOs to have innovative way of recovering this money, apart from now using the payroll system.
This report also says that the largest portion of unremitted funds, originated from deductions intended for loan repayment.
Yes.
And we know that has a bearing on the length of the loan, the interest rate, and maturity period. What is going to happen to people who are affected, not because of their mistakes, but because of mistakes of others?
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, and members have suffered because of this non-remittance. However, we have also, as a government, thought through, and we have programs and facilities through the World Bank. We have a project called SEPA, where the government is able to access funds that can be lent to the SACCOs, and that money can be used to bridge the gap that is there. While they are struggling to collect these funds, SEPA as a project can also improve the liquidity of SACCOs, and it's available for those SACCOs that apply. And quite a number of SACCOs have been able to access this facility so that their operations have not been affected. Yes, and I can urge all SACCOs that are under regulation, the 355, are free to apply this particular facility.
When you engage with county assemblies, universities, and tertiary institutions, are they showing any signs of settling these dues anytime soon?
Yeah, of late, we have been able to collect quite a bit, but the problem has been that there is loose regulation. Loose regulation, because this are deductions. Why do they deduct? There are several deductions they make. As I've said, they deduct NSSF, they deduct PE. At the same time, they are deducting SACCO dues, but they pay the other two, and they don't pay the SACCO. It's because of the regulation in terms of SACCOs is quite loose. And that's why we have said that now this is being strengthened within the corporate bill that is before the two houses. Yeah.
Let's talk about the number of SACCOs in the Kenyan markets. And you're talking about, this report is talking about 355 who are regulated.
Yes.
And the industry has always talked about another 5,000 who are outside any regulations.
Yes.
But I want us to tether around the regulated SACCOs. Is it your opinion that 355 regulated SACCOs are too many, serving a population of about 60 million people?
I can say they are quite too many. If you look at a country like the United States, the entire country of United is an entire continent. USA has about 4,000.
4,000 regulated SACCOs.
SACCOs. In Kenya here, regulated and unregulated is 5,000. So it means that there is a mismatch somewhere. And that's why, if you listen to me today, I was saying that we must encourage mergers for these SACCOs to be competitive, because SACCO are financial institutions, just like commercial banks. It's only that they are more liberal. There is more accessibility than commercial banks, because commercial banks, to access any credit, the requirements are very stringent. So that's why I'm saying even the 355 are quite many. If we had 100 SACCOs in this country and everybody belonged to it, they will be more viable.
They'll be more viable.
Yeah.
So when you look at the SACCOs, majority of them, they even have membership of about 300 of them, 300 members.
Yeah.
Some have memberships of about 10,000.
Yes.
What avenue should we take, or what incentives should be there so that small SACCOs can get into mergers and acquisitions with big with big SACCOs?
SACCOs are established on democratic principle, and they are also established on the principle of voluntary membership, where members, citizens come together for a common purpose, voluntarily, nobody coercing them or nobody forcing them to come together. So because of that, they are free also to make their decision during the annual general meeting. So they are free. And as a government, we must respect that particular principle. However, we are encouraging them that in order for them to be competitive, otherwise they will be out of the market. People will move on because there is technology change. We are saying, why can't you come together? And number two, as a government, we are supporting them to have shared services. Like the smaller ones, we have a shared ICT platform so that they are able to hook within that platform so that they become competitive. So it's just to motivate them, to sensitize them by telling them this is the way. And if you go this way, you will become more competitive, you will become cost effective.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at these 355 regulated SACCOs, yeah, majority of them, or about 216, their balance sheet is very weak, is very small.
Yes.
Is it that the threshold for an organization to be registered as a SACCO is too low?
Yeah, I can say here that the threshold is too small because you require about 10 people only. And you will find that when the election is coming, it's around the corner, you will find quite a number of them. People coming together, we want to form a SACCO. Even the other day, there was someone who came to my office and said, oh, he has put some people together. And I said, how many? Oh, I've formed women groups to become SACCOs. So you find that such an institution, when they come together, they raise money, they have a base, such as SACCOs will not sustain themselves. Yeah? That's why we are saying people should be able to come together voluntarily, themselves to make a decision that this is what we want to achieve, and let us come together for that purpose. The time you try to organize them, get them already when they are together, and try to organize them already they have come together. Yeah.
This report is also talking about increase in financial expenses from 5.4 billion shillings in 2024 to from 3.1 billion shillings in 2023 to 5.4 billion shillings in 2024. Why are they spending? Why do we have a growth in financial expenditure?
Obviously, these institutions are growing. And that's why I have said that there is growth already from 301 billion growth in capital base to 1.1 billion. Even if you look at
1.1 trillion.
1.1 trillion. Mm-hmm. Even if you look at the savings, they have also grown. If you look at the loan portfolio has also grown from about 200 in the last 10 years to 800. So the activities are also growing. In terms of employment, you find their staff, because of this growth, their staff is growing. Most of them are going in IT. In fact, that's what we are encouraging. There are expenses for that. So expenses will keep on growing because of them also expanding in the activities. Yeah. What is important is the ratio between the cost and the revenue. Yeah.
And what is it saying?
Critical.
Are we saying cost to revenue ratio having major discrepancies?
What you are saying that if expenses are growing, you look at also revenue. Is the revenue going up? You can see the savings are going up, the loans are going up, the membership is going up. So you expect expenses to go up. So you will only worry if the expenses are going up and the revenue is not increasing to take care of those expenses. Yes.
Also help us understand, I mean, there's a new proposal to segregate Matatu-owned SACCOs. What is the idea behind this?
You know, the name SACCOs is misused. When you use the name SACCO because it's savings cooperative, there must be a financial component, two components of savings and giving credit. You find that Matatus come together loose. Even they are not registered by the Commission of Cooperatives. The time they are not registered as by the Commission of Cooperatives, then they are loose institutions. But we are saying that those that come together voluntarily and they have the two components, the savings and the credit, then they must be registered by the Commission of Cooperatives and they must be put under the regulatory authority of SASRA. Then they will be called SACCO. So they are loose. And that's why we are just encouraging them to be called transport cooperatives and not SACCOs.
Transport cooperatives.
Yes, and not SACCOs. Because cooperatives, you can come together loose like that and form a cooperative and be able to do a particular activity that benefits each member. But the time you use the word SACCO, and that's why there is a special legislation or an act of parliament, which is a Savings Societies Act of 2008, to take care of SACCOs. Cooperatives Act is the mother, and within the mother, which covers all cooperatives, even those in agriculture sector. We have quite a number of cooperatives in the agriculture sector. When you come to SACCOs, it's financial, and they are separate legislation, the SACCOs Societies Act of 2008. That is the difference.
This report is also urging SACCOs to invest more in technology,
yes,
so that they can curb fraud,
yes,
which has been growing.
Yeah.
What kind of technology do you expect SACCOs to deploy going forward so that they can deal with cases of fraud and improve efficiency?
It is not only fraud, as you have said. We encourage SACCOs to invest in technology to be efficient in terms of service, quick service to the members, in terms of having being cost effective. Now, most who are like just agents who are not even we have to know which I see the to
when you talk to Senate, because the SACCOs bill, has been pending.
Yeah.
At the Senate level now since last year.
Yeah.
When do we expect to have this piece of legislation debated and enacted?
I want to thank the two houses the National Assembly and the Senate. Already this bill has passed the National Assembly. Already the bill, before the Senate went on recess, it passed it. However, there are issues. They have also raised issues. And because they have raised issues, the bill has now been referred to the National Assembly for mediation. So what we are waiting, because the two houses have passed, but there are now issues. They feel that the two houses should agree, because, you know, the Senate represents the interest of the county governments.
Yeah.
National Assembly represents the interest of the national government. So they might be variant in interest, and that's why mediation is necessary. The Senate has raised about 55 proposed amendments to the bill that we presented to Parliament. The National Assembly has also made their own proposal. Now, we are waiting for the mediation to be announced by the Speaker, and we are hopeful that after that mediation, they will be able to agree on those amendments, and then the bill will be finalized. Otherwise, I will thank the two houses that already have done their work. So we are just waiting for mediation.
Very well.
And it will not go back to them again after mediation.
Yeah, Waziri, before I let you go, what should we look forward for in the Circle Supervision Annual Report for the year 2025?
Let me say like this, that Kenya is the leading in Africa in circles, and in the world we are rated number 8 in the world, and I think we have done better. In fact, next month we are having a conference of all ministers in charge of cooperatives in Africa to discuss these issues, because a cooperative model is the best in the world that bring smaller people together to mobilize resources for economic development at individual level or at small businesses like MSMEs. So we expect with what we are planning to do and what is in the cooperative bill, that now we are promoting what is called shared services, where even small cooperatives are able to hook in a centralized ICT platform for them to be effective. So we expect more growth. We are creating also a central liquidity facility where now SACCOs can mobilize resources at the center and then use it even for overnight lending, like what happens at the bank. We are also creating now a post guarantee scheme, so that when now you leave your SACCO, you are able, or the SACCO goes under receivership or under liquidation, then that scheme can pay you off, because people have been suffering because of that. Now, so we are creating now more trust, more confidence within the SACCO that in the coming years, there will be even a faster growth because of what we intend to do after the cooperative bill before the two houses.
Very good.
Yeah.
And we look forward to engaging you again so that we can dissect the 2025 report.
Yeah. I will be happy if you looked at the report and serialize it, if possible, for the benefit of the cooperative leaders and cooperative members in this country. But that's the way that the country should go to support cooperative movement in this country.
Very good. Waziri, asante sana. Very good. Let's move on to the county of Siaya, where Siaya County Governor James Orengo is wooing investors to participate in the establishment of the country's first nuclear power plant, as the county looks to position itself as a preferred investment destination in several industries. Speaking during an investors meeting in Nairobi ahead of the upcoming Siaya International Trade and Investment Conference, Governor Orengo told investors Siaya aims to catalyze economic development, create development opportunities and improve the livelihoods of the residents.
According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Siaya County currently contributes about 1% to Kenya's national gross domestic product. Agriculture is the dominant economic sector in the county. The county now says it is investment ready.
And we have been able to sit down as a county and say that the anchor for development and growth in Siaya is really agriculture and the blue economy. Agriculture and the blue economy. And there's a lot that we have done in that area. And we are talking to investors to come to Siaya.
The Siaya International Trade and Investment Conference, or CITICO, slated to be held in the county on October 14th to 17th, is set to attract investments through collaborations and partnerships with local and international investors to put up resources into capital-intensive industries, such as in the case of a new nuclear power plant, at a time when the nation looks to close the current power deficit vital in powering its industries.
We are appealing that people in the county accept the construction of a nuclear plant in Siaya. So we are being left behind by Ethiopia at 10,000 megawatts, and we are 3,000 megawatts.
The county hopes that such bankable projects will help diversify the county's economy and move away from the perception that it is an agriculture-only county.
The investment conference is specifically focused on matching investors with the opportunities on the ground. So we have an investor day, we'll be doing deal making, we'll be signing key agreements too. Siaya now is known, although we've been known as agriculture as our mainstay, we are now holding a very strategic position because we are being positioned as going to be the location for Kenya's nuclear energy.
The county has so far shown growth with an average growth rate of 4.51% from 2013 to 2022, which is slightly higher than the national average of 4.37% during the same period. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, Kenya expects to sign a trade deal with the United States by the end of this year. President William Ruto says Kenya is working with Washington to extend its duty-free agreement with Africa for at least 5 years. Ruto, who is attending the United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York, is expected to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio later on to discuss the African Growth and Opportunity Act.
The 25-year-old African Growth Opportunity Act grants qualifying African nations duty-free access to the U.S. market. It is due to expire this month, with the U.S. government showing no interest in renewing the deal. Kenya has been engaging with the U.S. authorities to renew the trade pact. President William Ruto has said Kenya is looking to access the U.S. market for its apparel, textile and agricultural products, including tea, coffee and avocados.
To consider seriously renewing and extending AGOA for at least a minimum of 5 years, because it is a platform that connects Africa and the US in a very fundamental way. And it can go a long way in solving some of the trade deficits and challenges that exist at the moment, especially in the context of where the world is going.
Ruto wants to explore new areas, including mining and fishing. If a deal is reached, it would be the first of its kind between a sub-Saharan African nation and Washington. Kenya is also working with the U.S. to develop what U.S. says will be a template of future trade pacts with Africa.
Indications are that before the end of this year, we should sign off a trade deal with the U.S.
President William Ruto, who is in the U.S. for the United Nations General Assembly, has said Kenya has robust trade agreements with several partners, including China, which has removed all tariffs from Kenya's agricultural products. Since its enactment 25 years ago, the act has expanded trade, increased investment in sub-Saharan Africa. Trevor Ngendo.
The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority is urging county governments to enhance the implementation of the Integrated National Energy Plan Regulations 2025. EPRA's Director General Daniel Kiptor says the regulations provide a framework to align national and county energy planning in a coordinated, transparent, as well as sustainable manner.
The Integrated National Energy Plan Regulations 2025, which was enacted in May this year, aims to ensure energy planning aligns with the national development goals and provide a mechanism for integrating existing energy plans from national service providers and county governments into the consolidated Integrated National Energy Plan. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority Director General Daniel Kip says the regulations require that county governments from the county energy planning committees that will formulate 10-year county energy plans that will be incorporated into the national energy sector plans. The regulations include county governments in energy planning by requiring the devolved units to develop and publish county energy plans that respond to local needs and opportunities, mobilize resources, identify priority energy projects, provide accurate data to support evidence-based planning, and report annually on the progress and ensure that there is stakeholder and community engagement on energy projects. Kipto was speaking during a sensitization forum to educate and engage county governments on their central role in developing county energy plans, CEPs.
Elsewhere, 15,000 mango farmers in Makueni County have received free fruit fly traps and training to boost the quality of their fruit and reduce losses. The devastating fruit fly is a pest responsible for destroying up to 50% of farmers' produce in Makueni County.
New partnership between European Union and the Makueni County government will help mango farmers produce export quality fruits while protecting their income. Lillian Mwai, County Director, Trademark Africa, says farmers have been losing up to half of their mangoes to fruit flies.
We have taken what is best practice globally and are introducing it here, and we'll be able to test and demonstrate that we too can be able to access the EU market again and to increase our exports.
Effective Integrated Pest Management CEO Dr. Nehemia Mihinda says the trap is a safe and environmentally friendly option that reduces the need for harmful chemical sprays.
One of the things that we have invented is what we call the fruit fly pheromone trap. It is used to for attracting the male fruit flies, because in the trap we have put the female pheromones, and the male thinks that it will come and mate with the female, and in the process it comes to the trap and it dies.
Farmers like Rose Mulu say results speak for themselves: better mangoes, fewer losses, and less money spent on pesticides.
Tulipoanza kufundishwa mambo ya kutumia these technologies, tumesaidika sana. Dawa tupige nyingi, hata pesa ile tulikuwa tunatumia imepungua by almost 50%.
With Makueni producing 200,000 tons of mangoes annually, such innovations are crucial in protecting one of the country's most valuable cash crops.
Let's now turn our focus on to international business news, where sales of new homes in the U.S. surged by more than 50%, which is expected to last as month as builders ramped up discounts to lure buyers sitting on the sidelines. The new single-family home sales rose 20.5% in August to an annualized rate of 800,000 units, the U.S. Census Bureau reported. More details next in our international business news.
Analysts said the uptick was propelled by price discounts and other sales incentives from builders who are grappling with an oversupply of newly built homes for sale. Easing borrowing costs ahead of Federal Reserve interest rate cut also supported the surge, economists noted. But new homes only account for about 14% of the U.S. home sales. The housing market more broadly remains persistently frozen as affordability constraints shut out prospective buyers. Meanwhile, UK cabinet ministers are considering stepping in to support Jaguar Land Rover suppliers after the car maker was forced to suspend production after a cyber attack. The cyber attack at the end of August meant Jaguar was forced to shut down its IT networks. Its factories remain suspended until next month at the earliest. Fears are growing that some suppliers, in particular the smaller firms that solely rely on Jaguar's business, could go bust without support. One idea being explored is the government buying the component parts that the suppliers build to keep them in business until Jaguar's production lines are up and running again. Finally, people of all ethnic groups across Xinjiang are enjoying better livelihoods, rising incomes and improved as the region benefits from sustained social stability under the Communist Party of China's governance in the new era. The CPC Central Committee has long prioritized Xinjiang in national governance, a commitment underscored by General Secretary Xi Jinping's multiple visits to the region. At the third central meeting on Xinjiang work in September 2020, Xi introduced the CPC's new era guidelines for governing the region. These include governing Xinjiang according to law, strengthening persistent efforts to combat terrorism, and maintaining stability through ethnic unity.
Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years. Sasa kwa star 419 hash uko na game mpya. Tushinde spin corner. Simply spin. Kisha ngoja, na kwa entry moja unaweza angukia na uspin hadi mara 3. Na ikigonga 25,000 na kufikia instantly. Cheza spin corner sasa hivi kwa star 419 hash option 4. Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years.
Yes, and welcome from the latest from the sports world with me, Bernardo Kumu. Let's begin with mountain running, where Kenya bagged 2 medals on the first day of the World Mountain and Trail Running Championship, which commenced today at the Pyrenees mountain range in Spain. Richard Atuya won silver in the men's 6-kilometer race in 39 minutes and 4 seconds, as Kipngeno Patrick clinched bronze in 39 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, the race was won by Bonnet Remy of Switzerland, who clocked 37 minutes and 50 seconds. Filaris Geruto race won by German Nina Engelhard in 45 minutes and 33 seconds. Kenya is represented by 15 athletes in the championship.
Patrick Kimani, absolutely, and hot on his heels. So he's definitely, you were saying, he was a very young runner, super talented, but he's developed into a male athlete. And look at him taking the title and showing Switzerland, ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the 2025 uphill race at the World Championship.
So he looks like, that's Richard.
There we go.
That's the smile of Richard. That's great to see.
Well done. And this is silver for Richard Atuya for Kenya.
Yeah, silver medal for Richard. You know, he's had such a fantastic year, and that'll be Patrick coming through.
Yes, exactly. Not too far back. Rounding up the podium with...
And to baseball now, where Kenya's national baseball 5 youth team, the Kenya Falcons, recorded mixed results in their opening Group B matches in the 2025 Youth Baseball 5 World Cup in Arit, Mexico, where they're looking forward to making it to the knockout stages. Now, they lost by 2 straight sets to Cuba before they recovered to beat Korea by the same margin, as Daniel Mwenda reports.
If Kenya can come up with some surprises, I think Kenya...
In their opening match, Kenya faced a tough opponent, 2-time world champions Cuba. The Falcons struggled to find their rhythm, falling 2-0 to Cuba. Cuba dominated the first set with a 13-2 scoreline and wrapped up the second set 13-1. Despite the heavy loss, the young Falcons showed determination and focus ahead of their second game. That resolve paid off as Kenya bounced back in their next fixture against Korea. The Falcons were in full control in the first set 7-1 and sealing the match with an 8-2 victory in the second set.
Yetu na Korea imetupea morali sana kwa sababu watu wetu walikuwa chini na tukajaribu kuwainua ili tucheze hiyo game ya pili vizuri na tuweze kuambia watu nyumbani kwamba tuko gangari.
It puts us in good position because we are now having 1 win out of 3. So we are expecting to win against Spain.
Elsewhere in Group B, Spain started strong with a 2-0 win over Korea before falling 2-0 to Cuba in their second game. Tonight, Kenya faces Spain in a decisive group match. A win will secure the Falcons a place in the knockout rounds of the global tournament. For Channel 1 Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
And thank you, Mwendwa, for that report. Also, the national para-athletics team, which represent Kenya in the World Para-Athletics Championship, left the country last evening for India ahead of the global showpiece, which is slated for the 27th of this month to the 5th of November next month. The championship in its 12th edition will be held at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi.
After an intensive 6 months of training, the Kenyan team for this year's World Para-Athletics Championship is seeking to showcase a stellar performance and continue putting Kenya on the global stage.
The training has been so hard. We've been forced to go back to our pockets. We were so hopeful to be put in the camp, but unfortunately we did not manage. So the 6 months we've been training, it was our own effort.
The team consists of 10 players who include, among others, 4-time Paralympian Samuel Mushai, who will feature in the 5,000 meters T11 category, paracyclist Bedan Ireri and powerlifter Helen Wawira. Others include John Lokedi, who finished 4th in 5,000 meters T13 category in last year's edition, Priska Jepkemei, who will feature in the 1,500 meters T11 category, Samson Ojuka in the long jump T37, and Sheila Wanyonyi. The last time Kenya won at least a gold medal was in the 2023 edition, which was held in France, where Nancy Chelagat clinched gold in the women's 1,500 meters T11 event. During the 2024 edition, which was held in Japan, John Lokedi finished 4th in the men's 5,000 meters T11 and 11th in the 1,500 meters. Frederick Muki for Prima Edition.
And a total of 7 schools will compete in the second Ringo Championship to be held on Saturday at the Breeside School in Lavington. Teams will compete in 2 age categories, the under 12 and under 15-year-olds.
After a successful first edition of the Ringo Championship held on 14th June this year, the second edition has attracted 7 teams who will be categories. The 7 teams have been undergoing training ahead of the championship that will feature the Porterhouse School.
We want to encourage the students to embrace the game, and we also to popularize the game in Kenya, because as you can see, not so many schools knows about the game. That is why we want to hold as many tournaments as possible, so that now our students can be encouraged, get medals, get trophies, and also be encouraged.
Other schools to compete in the tournament: Nexa International, Brookhouse, Heroes Team, and the Kestrel Manor for Disabilities.
The sin that I were here, I hope we found many schools to will play ring tennis, and I hope I see Kenya next year, not next year, on the next World Championship with a big national team.
The tournament will come just 2 days after a coaching course that was held earlier today at the Nexa International in an effort by in the country.
It's a lot of families that, you know, it's the parents play, the grandparents play, then the kids play, but we are also trying to get new blood into it. So we're also targeting the schools because we'd like to do a school league.
The tournament is also being held in collaboration with the Ring Sports Alliance tournament.
We have about 20 students around there who have taken this new game. As you can see, they're enjoying. It's a sport that aims to grow discipline, things like speed, focus, coordination, teamwork, and the overall discipline of the individual.
Buckley Feather, Prime Edition Sports.
And to some really good news, where veteran sports journalist and head of KBC Sports, former international hockey player, Elina Shiveka has earned a place on the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, where she has been co-opted as a board member. Now Shiveka, a seasoned broadcaster with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, brings to the table a wealth of experience, having covered sports from the world's biggest stages, including, among others, the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games, the Paralympics, and the World Military Games. And we wish Elina Shiveka, the KBC Sports head, all the best as she begins her term as a member of the National Olympic Committee. And meanwhile, 8-time Carabao Cup champions, just quickly, Manchester City advanced to the 4th round after claiming a 2-0 victory over Huddersfield yesterday at the John Smith Stadium. Now Phil Foden delivering a man-of-the-match performance as he found the back of the net after 18 minutes to give City the lead before providing an assist to Savinho to secure the victory. Meanwhile, Newcastle cruised to a 4-1 victory over Bradford City as Arsenal beat Port Vale 2-0 at Vale Park. Tottenham won 3-0 over Doncaster in another match. Arsenal will face Brighton as Newcastle host Tottenham at St James's Park. Liverpool and Chelsea will face Crystal Palace and Wolves respectively, while Man City will travel to Wales to face Swansea in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Well, and that's all we had. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bernardo Kumu.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Okumu, for bringing us to speed with what's happening in the world of sports. Well, time now for us to call it a night here on the Prime Edition. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. You've been with us since 9 p.m. and now it's coming to 10:30, a whole 1.5 hours of your company. Thank you very much indeed. We take this opportunity to wish you a very good night. And of course, my name is O'Brien Kimani. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you and have a good night.
Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years.
Dosi amelala, sukuma moja. Wewe pia ndio muoga. Ndio maana Master Demi alikupita. Demi haiko nipita bwana. Mimi najaza entry ticket zangu. Wewe hata unajua namba ya kusenda. Sini star 419 has. Option 3. Ni Probox. Bwana finya hiyo kitu. Mfinye. Finya hiyo kitu. Mfinye. Finya hiyo kitu. Mfinye.